Who made the decision to go to Drupal?
And this gentleman right here, Scott Anderson did.
So what was the process? What other products did you look at? Or what other possibilities did you look at?
We spent a long time trying to suss out what the right CMS to use was, because we wanted to keep it as easy for someone putting content on the web and coming from these different stores who wasn't very tech savvy to be able to do it. So when I started in web development, I had absolutely no experience. So I was trying to rely on people I did know and asking questions, and we checked Joomla and Typo3, and at the time Drupal didn't really get on the radar as well, although it was one of the things that when we went into development we were thinking about. This is 2004, 2005 too. So Typo3 at the time was considered to be one of the most powerful CMSs going, and the developer convinced us to go down that path. But what we found out is a great deal of the documentation was written in German, and the support community was very small and primarily based in Europe. So you know, they were huge in Belgium, but not in the US. So we were struggling with the Typo3 interface that we had, and to change anything, it was also very difficult. We were also running vBulletin as a forum with a custom bridge to Typo3. So if the Typo3 code was updated, we had to, you know, then update the bridge or vice versa. So we were sort of handcuffed in the Typo3 room for a long time. We went to South by Southwest to the CMS Roundup, and except for Expression Engine, I think, is that the one, right? Expression Engine? Yeah. The Drupal and Expression Engine were far and away the most popular and most powerful choices based on the presentations and questions we heard afterward. So when we came back, we were really looking into it solidly. And when yet another custom development for Typo3 came in, I just killed development on that, and we began in Drupal.
And so Joomla was never an option?
It was, but it wasn't as powerful as Drupal when we made the choice to go to Drupal. But it was a stronger option for us when we chose Typo3.
Hey, Jared, can you tell them how we rank CMSs, like for the jobs that they do?
Oh yeah, we hear this question a lot. WordPress or Drupal? And when I got into it, I heard that Drupal's just like a more powerful WordPress, so you should go with Drupal. As I've developed in Drupal, I've realized that Drupal and WordPress do two completely different things. Drupal is a full-fledged CMS, user management, content management system. WordPress is a blogging platform that can be extended to do a lot of other things. TDAC does a really great job. Their website does a lot of really cool stuff, because it's in WordPress, right? Yeah, that WordPress doesn't normally do. Drupal to me it's a heavy hitter for big, lots of content, lots of users, big corporate type websites. WordPress is for your small blog that's got a few static pages that don't change very much. That's what you were talking about, right, sir?
Yeah, and then Joomla might fit,
I don't know. Pablo was talking that Joomla, because I've never worked in Joomla.
Yeah, if you're Pablo, it's a whole other animal.
It's a pretty good CMS from what I've heard. I've never worked in it, so I can't say about Joomla one way or the other. Typo3, my only experience with that is documentation in German, trying to fix things when I first got hired at Bookmans. So I just won't talk about it because I'm really biased against it.
Me too.
But WordPress, in my mind, and Drupal are both really great products that just do different things. So if anyone came here with that question in mind, there's that answer. Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk about web hosting for this. I know that there's some web hosts out there. I don't remember which one, like DreamHost or HostMonster or something. They have like one-click installs of Drupal. Do you guys use a host like that, or do you have any experience with them?
I don't have any personal experience with them. I've never heard anything good or bad about them. My experience with one-click installs is kind of shaky because a lot of times they take the core stuff and they modify it to suit their needs and their exact server needs, and so sometimes it's a few steps behind the most recent updates, so sometimes it's behind on security patches and things. We use Rackspace hosting, and we use a LAMP stack that we configured specifically for our needs. So I've never used them, but I haven't heard either way. You can really, I wouldn't make that a basis for choosing a host. You can get a $10 a month, maybe even cheaper host that will host a Drupal site just fine, especially while it's in development. Drupal is a little bit of a memory hog because there's so much going on with it, so you may have to upgrade once you actually launch. But I wouldn't make that a basis for consideration. I would go with price and you know, how much memory you're getting, how much hard drive space, how much bandwidth are you getting with your host, things like that.
Yeah. And one issue I've had with one-click hosts, like Yahoo, like Jared was saying, sometimes they add stuff to it, so they'll actually add their banner to the admin area, and then they're behind. And I would actually go away from a one-click host versus.
So there you go.
I mean, do you recommend a dedicated host or?
For us, yeah. I mean, but I wouldn't for. I guess it depends on your site's needs. You know, if you are serving 2,000 unique hits a day, then maybe you need a dedicated host to do that. If you are doing 50, 60, then maybe you don't. Yeah, a vhost will suit you just fine. As far as I've ever seen, I don't see a reason why vhost wouldn't work. If you have the money to do dedicated hosting, it's always nice to have
I'm just
your own
thinking
box.
along the lines of what I can offer customer base. You know?
Yeah, I've had other sites where they have a little Fantastico tool, you know, and you just go, you know, one-click install. It seems to work just fine with Drupal. And for that, I've used a couple of customers. SiteGround. Yeah, it's really cheap. It works.
SiteGround works very well.
Does it?
That's their model, no phone, all chat.
There you go.
Just go install the script yourself. It seems to be okay, but you know, I'd rather have an answer, of course.
You mentioned there's 40 different user-contributed, core-contributed modules. Do you ever worry about going forward that they won't keep up with the core development? So say you take the latest Drupal and you just need to upgrade, but the one or two haven't. Is that an issue, or do you just figure you can figure it out?
I'm going to answer that with two different parts to it. There's Drupal actually is right now split into 3 different development arcs. There's Drupal 5, Drupal 6, and Drupal 7. And we run on Drupal 6, which is the most stable and like technologically advanced version of it. But they keep their core backwards compatible throughout 6. So any module written for Drupal 6 that's written appropriately from the beginning will work throughout Drupal 6's lifespan. But they do tell you if you're upgrading from 6 to 7, you're going to break a lot of modules. And you're going to have to get the Drupal 7 version of those modules to go back. Depending on what the module is, some of them do drop off development. The developer, the maintainer just kind of disappears, decides he doesn't have time anymore, doesn't want to, there's not a big enough audience for whatever the reason. In that case, depending on the module, I might just pick it up and say, well, I'll continue to maintain it and tweak it to our needs. But yeah, they do backwards compatibility across versions. So not across versions, but within the same version number. So Drupal 6 modules should stay current as far as Drupal 6 goes. And then Drupal's website is really, really good about this. They keep a backlog of modules. So if a maintainer updates a module that breaks a lot of things, you can just go to Drupal's website and download 1 version back, or 2, or however many it takes to get back to a stable version.